Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Hussnain Ali, chemistry teacher, A levels. Today, in this video, students, we are going to discuss the next 5 MCQs. That is our section B, which contains 10 MCQs, out of which 5 would be solved here from MCQs number 31 to MCQs number 35. So, the section B is a different section of the paper 1. Here, this is the paper 1 of mock 2 examination. For the solution purpose, let's have a look at the questions. Here, for the first part, for each of the questions in this section, one or more of the 3 numbered statements, 1, 2, 3 may be correct. Decide whether each of the statement is or is not correct. You may find it helpful to put a tick against the statement that you consider to be correct. The responses A to D should be selected on the basis of this table. So this is the table on the basis of which we have to attempt these MCQs. So the 31st MCQ was the gas laws can be summarized in the ideal gas equation. This is the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT, where each symbol has its usual meaning. Which statements are correct? So we have to look out for the statements which are correct out of the 3 statements and select the option that is present within the table. In the first statement, he was saying that 1 mole of an ideal gas occupies the same volume under the same conditions of temperature and pressure. We know that the molar volume of the gases is constant. For example, if we consider the neon gas or argon gas, etc., their molar volume at standard condition is 24 decimeter cube. So the first statement is correct. For the second statement purpose, he was saying that the density of an ideal gas at constant pressure is inversely proportional to the temperature. So if you would be converting the PV is equal to nRT equation, it would be forming a density form in the shape of P is equal to dRT over mR. Here you can see that the D stands for density and T stands for temperature, R is for the ideal gas constant, mR is the molar mass of the substance, P is the pressure. So the density here, by the conversion, you can see the notes that this conversion is done in your notes also. The density is inversely proportional to temperature. So the second statement is also the correct one. Coming to the third statement, he was saying the volume of a given mass of an ideal gas is doubled if its temperature is raised from 25 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius at constant pressure. So I've calculated the volumes by taking arbitrary values. Here are the values. I've taken the 1 atmospheric pressure or 1 into 10 raised to power 5 pascals of the pressure into volume into 1 mole. I am supposing the moles of the gas to be 1. R is put here 8.31, while the temperature, that is 25 degrees Celsius, it is converted into Kelvin. The volume comes out to be 24 decimeter cube. While taking the same values of pressure, moles and gas constant, just changing the value of temperature, that is here putted as 323 for 50 degrees Celsius, the volume comes out to be 26.8 decimeter cube. So that both volumes are different, but by raising the temperature from 25 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius, the volume has increased from 24 decimeter cube to 26.8 decimeter cube, which is not the double of 24 decimeter cube. So the third statement is wrong. So our best suited answer is B, that is our 1 and 2 statements are only correct, while the third one is the incorrect one. For the MCQs number 32 purpose, if you would be watching the video, here you can read the statement. Use the data booklet. Use of the data booklet is relevant to this question. In which pair do both species have the same number of unpaired p electrons? So there were 3 options, and we have to select which pair of the species contain the same number of unpaired electrons. For the first part, I have given the solution in the green while the answer in the yellow. Here the answer was B, that first 1 and 2 statement were correct, because here you can see in the first statement the electronic configuration of oxygen and chlorine positive is both 3s2 3p4. So So they both contain basically two unpaired electrons. While in the case of fluorine positive and gallium negative, you can see that their electronic configuration is also same of the outermost shell, that is 2s2 2p4 4s2 4p4. They also contain two unpaired electrons. Well, in the case of the phosphorus and neon positive, the third statement, the electronic configurations are different. Phosphorus contains three unpaired electrons, while neon positive contains one unpaired electron. So our best statements that fit in are statement number 1 and 2. So our best option that is to be opted for is B. In the 33rd MCQs, he was saying nitrogen and phosphorus are both in group 5 of the periodic table. Phosphorus forms a chloride with the formula PCl5. Why is it not possible for nitrogen to form NCl5? So here I have highlighted the answer, that is D. Our statement 1 is only correct, that is nitrogen outer shell can only contain 8 electrons. Yes, this is a true thing. While for the second statement purpose, nitrogen cannot have an oxidation state of +5. It can have, because it can lose 5 electrons. It contains 5 electrons in its outermost shell, so it can have 5 positive electronic of oxidation state. Nitrogen is almost inert. No, it reacts, it forms different compounds, nitrogen oxides, etc. So the second and the third statement are incorrect, while the first statement is correct. So we will have to opt for D, that is 1 is the correct statement. In the case of the 34th MCQs, ammonia and chlorine reacts in the gas phase. Here is the reaction. Which statements are correct? First is ammonia behaves as a reducing agent. You can see here on the left side that the nitrogen has an oxidation state of 3 negative, while on the right side it has an oxidation state of 0. So it has lost electrons, so it is a reducing agent. Our first statement is correct. While for the second statement, ammonia behaves as a base. It always behaves as a base, you know that thing, and so the second statement is also correct. Third statement was that the oxidation number of hydrogen changes. Here on the left, the oxidation number of hydrogen is 1 positive. On the right, it is also 1 positive. You can calculate it and see that the third statement is not right. So we are only left with the option 1 and 2 that are correct. So our best suited answer should be B. I have highlighted the answer here for the 34th MCQs. For the 35th MCQs, the examiner was asking which statement correctly describes a trend on going down to group 2. The trend that was correctly described in these statements, I've given the answer, that is A, that all the 3 statements are correct. Why? Let's see it. Number 1 is reactivity of the elements increases. Yes, this is a true statement, because as we go down the group, in the group 2 elements, they are metals, so their reactivity increases. This can be seen within your notes also. This is due to the reason that the ionization energy decreases. The second statement here is depicting their reactivity reason also. So first ionization energy of the elements decreases. This is also correct. So their reactivity also increases. For the third statement part, the hydroxide becomes more soluble in water. Yes, magnesium hydroxide is a sparingly soluble compound. It is also known as milk of magnesia. I have introduced it to you. While the barium hydroxide is the most soluble, so our third statement is also correct. Our all 3 statements are correct. Our answer is A. Hopefully you are able to understand the concepts related to these MCQs. I thank you all.